The number you have dialed has been changed.
Ang Pilipinas ay binubuo ng 7,641 na isla, kung saan ito'y nahati sa tatlong bahagi, ang Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Noong December 2019 ay sumabog ang isang balita na nagkaroon ng hindi pa matukoy na sakit sa isang probinsya sa China. Nagarang nilakdan ang probinsya ng Wuhan upang hindi agad kumalat ang sakit. Ngunit hindi ito nagawa. Madaming bansa ang naapektuhan at milyon-milyong tao ang nagkaroon ng sakit na ito. Nasa mahigit 300,000 na ang natapuan ng sakit nito. Mahigit naman 290k ang nakarecover at mahigit 6,000 ang nasawi.
There are many things that our country, Philippines, is facing right now. One of those problems is corruption. What does corruption mean? It's a form of dishonesty or criminal offense undertaken by a person or an organization entrusted with a position of authority to acquire illicit benefit or abuse of power for one's personal gain, or simply misissue act in order to gain money from the source of government. Corruption in the Philippines exists in all levels to the government of the country. Subsequently, there are also different kinds of corruption. These are bribery, cronyisms, economic of corruption, electoral fraud, influence peddling, kleptocracy, nepotism, and slush fund.
It is a brutal and painful reality that we live in a corrupt society. That may be pessimistic perhaps, but also very true. Politicians are considered the most corrupt of all. Even senators are on trial in the Philippines for looting public coffers. They allegedly set up false charities and foundations to hide to the public money given to them for development and community projects, and then channeled the billions into their private accounts. One was able to get a Supreme Court decision to post bail for a crime which there is no bail allowed. The decision was a miracle of compassion, some said. The accused have every opportunity to present evidence in a strong defense and a benefit by the rule of the law. Due process and pled innocent until guilty. Not so, the suspected drug users are killed daily on the spot with no evidence needed.
We conclude that the reason why corruption occurs in the Philippines is that many officials want to get rich in a very simple way. They acquired money that was supposed to be used for the improvement of the country for their own. When this happens, the Philippine Treasury will lose the money, and then the country will borrow money from the other countries just to obtain the needs. As the country continues to borrow the money, it will still lack the needs that result to unfinished project, economic loss, and poverty. A crippling effect to social, economic, and political aspect of the nation. This pervasive corruption really affects the citizens of the country. Lacking of budget to support the government projects or economy which is specifically for the citizens, leads to poverty. Given that the corruption increases poverty, the escalating amount of crimes like increasing production of the illegal drugs and prostitution occurs. This issue has led to many crimes growing in every municipality of the country. Overall, getting rid of corruption in a country is ambitious, but it can definitely happen not now, but maybe in the future.
We as a Filipino are challenged and called upon to speak out and expose corruption whenever we suspect it's happening. Pope Francis is calling us to say no to corruption and to take stand for integrity, honesty, human dignity, justice, good governance, and human rights. Exposing corruption is dangerous as the powerful will silence the whistleblowers and the human rights advocate who will take stand against corruption. Especially here in our country, the President has said that he will order the police to shoot human rights advocates. It is sad to think that saying no to corruption can cost you your life. Over 100 of journalists and human rights workers have been killed for exposing corruption and injustices in the Philippines. Yet the people of conscience and integrity need to take stand and stand up to say no more corruption and act to expose and oppose all such evil practices.
I will run, I will climb, I will soar. I'm undefeated. Oh, jumping out of my skin, pull the cord. Yeah, I believe it. Oh, the past is everything we were. Don't make us who we are. So I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is stars. It's not until you fall that you fly. When your dreams come alive, you're unstoppable. Take a shot, chase the sun, find the beautiful. We will go in the dark, turning dust to gold, and we'll dream impossible.
Abuse is something that we won't want to happen to anyone, especially to ourselves, of course. And yet still abundant. It's inevitable, but abuse has many forms. Two of them are known as physical abuse and mental abuse. They're both abundant. They happen in your home, school, work office, and everywhere you can think. Physical abuse is when someone causes harm to you, against to you, or causes distress to you, cause violence. And mental abuse can be caused by offensive words, offensive verbal words. Some example of mental abuses are when your classmate degraded you, judged you by your appearance, and it will stay on your mind. It will cause damage to your mind, also emotionally. Some are when your boss just keep talking to you, then keeps degrading you. Yep, that is some example of mental abuses. And both physical abuse and mental abuse are very abundant. So the question is, why is it still happening? Why do people keep abusing someone? There are so many answers, but the common one are because of stress, they're depressed, they're judged too by someone, they're judged too, their childhood, they're bullied also, they're also the victims. They're into a big problem that they also need friends to talk, but when there's no around, they're just stressed. Yep, they're just stressed. Then it will result to abusing someone, and it's very unpleasant. So what are the possible solutions? There are so many solutions that we can do to handle physical and mental abuse. First is to seek professional help. Of course, that's the very right and first thing to do. Or Second is, talk to your parents, talk to your friends, ask help to your neighbors, teacher. They definitely help you, and they can give you any help you need, and they can deliver to the authority.
Strengthening family relationship. So why is it important? I believe that we can prevent teenage pregnancy, abortion, premarital sex, or whatever moral issues if we have a strong relationship with our family. And maybe if you have knowledge about those moral issues, also the most important thing is you will have a family planning and plans for the better of your future. And maybe the parents should guide their children. I have always believed that the family always come first, and that's number one no matter what. So no matter where life takes you and whatever problems and challenges you face, our family will always be there, and we will always come back to where we belong, our home.
In this generation, a lot of members of youth or kabataan forgets the value of strengthening family relationship. There's a lot of there's a lot of youth na nag-spend ng time nila with friends, sa ibang bagay, sa gadgets, sa labas ng bahay, which is dun nag-uumpisang magbukas yung curiosity nila sa iba't ibang bagay na gumawa ng ganito, gumawa ng ganan, na pwedeng mag-lead sa kanila sa kapahamakan, sa maling tahakin at sa maling gawain. There's no wrong naman sa pag-spend ng time with friends or sa ibang tao as long as nade-develop nito yung personality and knowledge ng isang kabataan. Pero along the way sa pagbibinata at pagdadalaga, we must focus, we must prioritize our relationship in our family. Why? Kasi hindi ka mapapariwara, hindi ka mapapahamak, hindi ka magiging masamang tao kung patuloy kang magpapaguide, kung patuloy kang susunod sa pamilya mo. Always remember that family always comes first no matter what. Sila yung una at huling makakaunawa sa'yo, sila yung una at huling mag-guide sa'yo, sila yung una at huli na naandyan para sa'yo, at sila yung una at huli na kayang magtama ng mga mali mo. That's why strengthening family relationship is very important sa panahon natin ngayon.
As a youth, I strongly believe that strengthening the relationship of each family, each home will help develop and influence a stronger, more responsible, and more empowered youth. Because it is home where the heart of each youth is. This is where each of us belong, and where we are left unconditionally, and nothing can replace that.
So I'm here to discuss one of the moral issues that we are facing until now, which is the homicide, physical injuries, and murder. So before I start, I would like to share an example related to the issue that we were going to talk about. So I saw this viral news on TV and it caught my attention. This is a murder case of 3 nursing students that has been brutally killed by the construction workers. Upon watching the news, I can feel the sadness of the family of the victims, how they mourn for the death of their loved ones, and their eagerness for the justice. This case is almost a month, and 2 suspects are still not in jail. Imagine that 2 murder suspects are still roaming around wherever they are. What if they do the same thing again to innocent people? Who to blame? And then I realized, maybe the justice system in our country is too slow. Or maybe our government is too kind for this type of criminals. That's why people are not afraid to commit murder. Did you hear the quote, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth? I know that only God has the right to take human's life. But in such situations or events that people do you think government should implement the death penalty again? Well, I don't know. But in my opinion, if they don't want to implement this law, then they should do something. They should enhance the justice system in our country for the sake of the families of the victims. Because at the end of the day, murder is not just a crime. It's murder. Someone killed a person, and the government should be alarmed with that.